Welcome to the Performance Enhancing Podcast. It's like steroids for your brain. A podcast for people looking to live life at their peak potential. Chock full of real-world tools and knowledge that you can apply in your life today. By providing you with a lens into the lives, beliefs, practices, and actions of those who are already living extraordinary lives, the Performance Enhancing Podcast will help you shift your mindset or create that change in your daily rituals and habits so you can explode with success in the areas of life that are most important to you. So get ready for another dose of Performance Enhancing Podcast with Satori Here's your host, Ilan Ferdman.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another Performance Enhancing Podcast with your host, Ilan Ferdman. So for our next interview, I brought on two ladies. So this is actually the first time that I've had two guests on. Their names are Ali and Michelle, and their project and something that they've been putting on is called Soul Camp. In other words, camp for your soul. Their passion and energy and play literally will exude off your speakers of whatever you're listening to. They are bubbly, and what they're trying to do is bring fun, play, and effectiveness back into people's lives. So incredible interview. In these next two parts, we're going to cover a few things. One of them is how to see opportunity when you are a yes to life. A new understanding of the word fear or being fearless, and something that they said, which I thought was great, of how to persevere through things. They said a great quote about everything happens for us, not to us. So if you truly want to understand how passion trumps any adversity in life, then stay tuned because these girls are about to blow your mind. Enjoy. Today, we are going to be talking about play, fun, and how it relates to your business and your results. So I have with me two guests today. I actually think this is the first time I've had two guests on the show.
Ah, awesome.
I have Ali Leipzig and Michelle Goldblum. Welcome to the show.
Oh my God, thanks for having us. Excited to be here.
So these two are going to tell you some pretty interesting stories, but I brought them onto the show because they run an event called Soul Camp, which absolutely intrigued me. So I don't know who wants to share, but can you guys just give us a little bit of background on yourselves, how you guys got this started, and then we'll kind of dive into everything that you learned along the way.
Totally. Sure. Do you want to do ourselves and then we'll...
Yeah. Okay. All right. So this is Michelle. So my background, I work in the whole wellness, mind, body, spirit world. I run a creative agency in that space. And so my life really consists of going to a lot of different events and yoga events and retreats and all of that. And Ali.
Yeah. So I'm a graphic designer and a body confidence coach. And I came out of school wanting to look for a graphic design job and couldn't find one. And I was like, okay, like what are my passions? And I realized I really love nutrition. So I went to nutrition school, and then that led me down the coaching path. But then Michelle and I actually met probably now 2 years ago, right?
Yeah.
We went to the same sleepaway camp, but so I knew who she was because she was a couple of years older than me and loud and crazy. And I was like, I know Michelle. And I like saw her in this picture and
of a flash mob, of course.
Yeah, a flash mob in Union Square in New York, and total in her bright neon pants. I was like, is that Michelle Goldblum? And like, I'm also really involved in the wellness space. And I was like, I didn't know anyone from my Jewish sleepaway camp was doing this kind of stuff in the world. So I reached out to her, and, you know, she has her branding agency. I have my design agency. So we became, you know, really close. And then, and
we became very, very good friends.
Yes.
Yeah.
You guys look like sisters. The fact that you just said 2 years, I was like, what? I thought you guys had been friends for something like 25 years. And
yeah, that's how it feels.
We feel like that.
Yeah.
Like, we feel like
and I think it's because the camp connection, like, you know, my camp friends, right? You grow up with them forever. They know everything about you. You live together. And that's really like the relationship that Ali and I completely developed immediately.
Yeah, like when we're working, we like before our launch, our website was like, you know, before our launch when technology doesn't work, we're like sitting there like, and then we're like, let's play jacks. And like literally we got into it and play jacks. And like, Instagrammed it, of course.
Yeah.
We really like work like that.
We really get into the energy of camp, and like our other friends hate us because like walking down the street, we're always singing and like clapping and like doing cheers and making up rhymes and literally like what happens at camp.
Yeah.
So Allie and I were on a retreat together, one of our friends' retreats, and we both received an email from the director of the sleepaway camp that we went to, saying, you know, hey, I see that you guys are always on these retreats, and I just wanted to say, like, you know, you could bring a yoga retreat, thinking like a 30-person yoga retreat, to Camp Tawanda. And Allie and I looked at each other and we're like, we are going to blow this out.
Wow.
And that's how the idea even came.
Yeah, it was just like this little, you know, it was like this little message, and we could have been like, oh, what's he talking about? But what we saw was like, wait a second, we love camp. We are positioned, a lot of our friends are influencers in the space. Our clients are influencers. Like, we could bring all of them to like this place that we love so much. And then it all just came, it just
so
like,
quickly.
Like this.
Yeah. And it was like, and it just so showed us, because like, again, Allie and I both owned our own companies in the mind, body, spirit, wellness space. Like, oh my gosh, how perfect is that? Because we were able to just reach out to all of our clients who love us so much and just say, hey, do you want to come to this camp? It was
we made this like makeshift logo. So this is a difference between us. Talk a little bit about business partnerships, but Michelle is like all about like shipping, like let's go. And I'm a perfectionist. Like, I'm a designer. So I like look at every little detail, and she's like, okay, make a logo quickly and like, just send it out. And I was like, oh my God. And she's like, no, we're doing it. And like, it's so funny looking at that logo. It's like tie-dye grass. It's so bad, but like, it didn't matter.
Perfect.
It didn't matter.
Perfect. And we reached out to all of our, you know, friends and clients who, like Allie said, have, you know, thousands and thousands and thousands of followers and fans and audiences and all that, and said, hey, do you want to teach yoga? Do you want to teach meditation? Do you want to speak? Do you want to lead a workshop? And everyone said yes.
Wow.
Everyone. There was not one person who said no.
Isn't that amazing?
Which was
amazing. We tend to not ask. I was just interviewing somebody else the other day, and they said the biggest problem that anyone has, not just entrepreneurs, just human beings have, is asking. Just ask. She was talking about this one woman who became the interim CEO of some major company and did a kick-ass job, and revenues went through the roof, et cetera. And based on that, she thought she was going to get the job. And the coach asked her, she's like, did you ever actually ask for the job? And she goes, no. She's like, what? You know, we just assume, but there's so much power in just asking. So can you tell guys, the listeners, I should say, what is the intention? What was the vision or the why of Soul Camp before you ever created it?
Yeah, I'll speak to that. So, you know, Michelle and I are really lucky that we fell into a community of people that we feel like are our family and have our back, and we feel all of this immense love. Like, we have so much support, whether that's our entrepreneur friends or our families or our friends that we've met outside of that. We have this like love bubble, we like to call it. So there was that one piece of creating a space where other people get to experience that. And then the second piece is people need time to be able to come back to themselves. So like we're entrepreneurs, we're busy. We're like always going, checking our email. We're really now at a time where we need to take a break and to get back to ourselves, get back to nature, get back to, like space to be able to hear our thoughts. And it's not easy to do that every single day unless you're creating really impeccable self-care routines, which is something, you know, we really believe in, but you also sometimes just need a reset. And that was really our biggest intention. And then there's another aspect of, you know, bringing people into this space of wellness and like introducing them to all of these amazing modalities and tools that have really helped us in our life, helped us as people, in relationships, as business partners and owners. So
yeah, and to have it all in one place, because so many people who are not familiar with all these classes and tools and all that, you know, going to like a retreat is so like woo-woo, right? Going is so out of their scope of like what they would ever do. Like, they think drumming circles, they think silent meditation. We wanted to like really provide an opportunity for people who might have trepidation about this whole world to experience it in such a light, fun, open way that is, that isn't drumming on a mountain somewhere.
Yeah, that's not so serious.
There's anything wrong with that.
Not that there's anything I drum on a mountain.
Yeah. And one of the things too that we've been experiencing, so we're in New York and here you go, and we are in this amazing wellness community, and there's tons of lectures and classes. And something Michelle and I were experiencing was we don't want to sit and listen to a lecture anymore. I want to get outside and learn experientially. Yeah. And that's the type of place that we wanted to create. So people can learn and educate themselves, but mixed with fun and play. And, we don't have the attention span of sitting in a conference all day long unless you're jumping around like Tony Robbins.
Yeah,
I told you that.
Yeah. And it's bringing that energy of fun. Allie and I were at Date with Destiny, a 5-day immersion in Tonyland where Tony's on stage for 12 hours and we're just sitting, in the room for that long. And people are like, how could you do that? How could you? And it was so much fun. And it's so incredible to be moving your body and doing all these things that it didn't feel like that at all. But like what Allie was saying, we want to even take that experience out of the room, and provide people, with all these amazing speakers and all of that, but coupled with being in nature. Everything is optional. So people don't need to go to speakers or go to the classes. They could sit under a tree or paddleboard on the lake. They don't need to do, immerse themselves. Yeah.
Literally like camp. So who is this camp for? Or I should say, who is Soul Camp for?
So Soul Camp, I guess, is for a few different types of people. It's for the person, who's just interested in learning more about this whole wellness world. It's for the person who needs a break, who needs to go and take themselves completely out of their day-to-day. It's for the person who's looking to find their people, looking to find their community. I know back in the day when I was in my corporate world, I didn't, before I had my community now, I didn't really feel like I could talk about the things that I wanted to talk about or learn about the things I wanted to learn about with the people that I was surrounding myself with. So really being able to kind of bring all of the people looking to be happier in their life all together in one place to support each other and encourage each other. Yeah. And for the person who wants to go have fun, we're having concerts and, it's awesome. It's freaking amazing. It's the most, and it's, and it's, yeah.
And I'll just add one thing to that. I think it's also really for the entrepreneur that is seeing that something's off in their business and they can't quite put their finger on it. They're I'm not sure what this is, but it doesn't feel like me exactly. Mm-hmm. This is the time to come and figure out what is going on inside and what's not aligned so that you can get back into alignment to go.
Yeah.
We had a lot of those.
Yeah, we had a lot of those.
It's interesting. I hear a lot of people go, like you said, I too go to a ton of these events. And I think a lot of the events, especially in the marketing world, are all around doing, all around technical skills, all around that kind of stuff. And one of the things that at SatoriPrime we focus on mostly is I personally believe that 95% of your success is what you are able to do in between your ears. How tough your mind is, how emotionally resilient you are. Those are the kind of things that I believe actually set apart. I've interviewed hundreds of entrepreneurs and they all have a very strong mental aptitude. I don't know how else to call it. Yeah. And it sounds to me like the Soul Camp actually focuses more on aligning kind of the whole mind, body, soul thing than just having people go there and be today we're going to learn about branding for your company, which is what everyone thinks is going to actually unlock their business.
Right.
But it's really not.
Totally.
So true. Yeah. And we've seen that in our life. I mean, I can't tell you, I would never have imagined I'd be here, talking about 2 businesses that I've created. I was used to be shy and insecure, and I did the inner work stuff up here so that I could be in a place where I know how valuable my skill sets are. I know how incredible my gifts are to the world. And I need to, at this point, I need to share them. Yeah. But we want everyone to get to that point where you know that.
Yeah. you're able to really stand solid in like who you are and be supported for being that. And then once you're in the energy of that, amazing stuff happens. You know, amazing stuff happens in your business
and you're
your
not
life.
afraid to go take risks.
Yeah.
And that's something Michelle and I mean, we really have, like we were telling you before this started, it was just like, we just had this idea and we were like, go. Like we didn't know what it was going to be like. We didn't know if anyone would show up. Like we had a talent show scheduled. And I remember I said this, I was like, we had a backup in case no one signed up to get on the show. And it ended up being the most incredible night because all of these people were like getting on the stage, conquering their fears. And like, there was like a wait list for it, you know? And it's those moments of like, wow, like we took that risk and it was beyond what we could have even ever imagined.
Yeah. Like I remember I said to the campers at one point, I was like, you know, this began as like notes on a loose leaf paper, you know, like
Literally.
This began as, you know, just maybe like this company
Maybe
would want to be, maybe the
something.
Huffington Post would want to like be involved because they have GPS for the soul, and the name Soul like is
Or
the
Soul
same.
Pancake.
Huffington Post became our sponsor, our media.
Wow.
Like crazy stuff started happening. It just over and over, everything was a yes. And I think it happened that way because Allie and I were such a yes. You know, we were operating from a place of no fear. And like, it wasn't like no fear. Oh no, we knew that stuff was going to go wrong. We knew that stuff was going to happen. We knew that we were probably going to get a lot of no's, but like, there was no fear in that. It was like, this is going to be freaking fantastic.
That's a really great point. So a lot of people have thought about putting on an event. And just so people understand the scope of this, how many people were at this camp?
So the first year we had over 200.
Yeah. First shot out the gate, 200 people.
First shot out the gate without any like photos or videos. It was literally like no promotional material at all. It was like Allie and I being like, "Hi everyone,
You should come to camp."
Literally,
We went up to the
come
camp.
to camp. Like that is what we did. We handed out flyers at the Union Square Farmers Market.
Yeah.
Like.
And we
Amazing.
have a strategy behind that, which we can talk about.
Yeah.
Amazing. So a lot of people have horrible fear about mostly, let's say at an event like that, something that's going to come up for a lot of people is, well, what if I put myself out there and no one shows? Or what if I do all this work and 10 people say yes? All of these kind of thoughts, which there's no way that you guys didn't have those thoughts, but something had you power through that. Could you talk to people about that? Maybe there's some insight there that people can grasp onto that will propel them in whatever project they're up to.
I think that a big like mantra or message that at least I know Allie also, you know, would say over and over is like, everything is happening for us, not to us. So if campers canceled before coming to camp, or if the numbers look so low. I mean, originally Allie and I were like, we're going to have 1,000.
Because Huffington Post came on and they were like, we're going to put advertisements and we're going to send a
They
dedicated
sent
email.
out a dedicated email.
So we were like, uh-oh. We like called the camp. We were like, we have to like think of a limit because we were like, we're going to have like 1,000 people show up. At one point we had that conversation.
Yeah.
And then that didn't happen. And we were freaking out.
And instead of us being like, we failed, we didn't have 1,000, or look what's wrong. It was, and I remember Allie saying it over and over, like, it's going to be the perfect number for this year.
Yeah.
Whatever the number is, it's going to be perfect. Even if 100 people show up, even if 50, however many it ends up being, it's going to be perfect and it's going to be transformative for everyone who's there. So it's like reminding, and like just also reminding ourselves of like, what is the bigger mission here, right? Like if the mission is to transform people's lives, and it begins small, then it begins small. Like that's fine.
Yeah. And we don't even know the ripple effect of that, right?
Totally.
Like when one person changes their life. So that's what we really stayed centered in of like, even if there's 10 people here who are going to change their lives like massively, then we don't even know what that impact is on the world. So like that's our why, and we're strong in that. And also we just felt, we're very like feeling based, but we just felt like there was no way that we were going to let this thing, like no one show up. Right. So like if we have 10 people, cool. But like we're going to like share our passion and enthusiasm for this because it's so real to us, that like people are just going to respond.
Yeah. And I think that's like such an important thing. You know, I think that a lot of people, when they're starting their business or starting their event or whatever, they're like scared to even like shout it from the roof because they don't know if it's going to work out or whatever. Allie and I, from the first day, from the get-go, talked about Soul Camp like it was the best party in town. And, you know, everyone should come to this party because it's going to be freaking amazing. And like, we really knew that and felt it before it even happened. And people get into that. All right, well, why are you so happy? What is this? You know, like they want to be part of that. And I just so believe that like the energy and the way that, you know, you yourself are thinking about what you're doing so influences how other people see it. Right.
100%. Passion is contagious. And I know from coaching people and working with clients, it's one of those things you cannot teach. And I think it comes from when you are centered in your why, when you know exactly who you are and the value that you want to deliver, it oozes out of you. And that's what people get attracted to. It could be about something completely different, but you notice when you talk about something that you're super passionate about, like I love cars or I love tennis. I could talk about those things. People that have no clue about either of them, regardless, will just stand there and be like, oh my God. Because they're not passionate about anything like that in their lives. And all they're looking for is, how can I do more of that in anything? I would love to feel that. And I think for what you guys are doing, you're basically giving people a passion injection where they can come there and be infused by this. And it's like, why would I not go check this thing out if I know that that's the way I want to feel?
Right. Totally.
Genius. Totally. So talk a little bit about some of the people that come to speak there, some of the benefits that people see. Like, who are we bringing there to train or share their good value and will with these people, with the campers?
Yeah. So we have a focus on mind, body, and spirit. So we have transformational speakers that are talking about, you know, how to be a leader or how to understand your cravings around food and how to heal your relationship with food. Then we also have the body experts. So we have cardio fitness classes, a lot of top New York City fitness boutiques. So we had Intensati, which is an awesome workout that's like positive affirmations combined with cardio, and you're like, I am powerful. It's so fun. So we have 305 Fitness, which is like Miami dance kind of stuff.
A lot of yoga, a lot of like breath work, and all different types of yoga. So we have like hardcore vinyasa to like restorative to, you know, hatha to flow, like all different types for all different types of people. Pilates.
And then we have the more spiritual classes. We have an angel card reader or
meditation classes,
a psychic medium that helps you tune into your intuitive abilities.
Yeah.
And all of what we said to our instructors is that
we have 40. Let me just say, we have
40 instructors,
40 teachers and instructors.
So
for each camp.
The way it's set up is literally like a camp. You wake up, then there's 2 periods in the morning, and you get to choose your activity. So there's 5 or 6 things going on at once. So you could choose a yoga class, you can choose a talk, you can choose a cardio class, you can choose a breathwork class. And the whole point of it is like we say, like tune into your soul, your intuition, and you figure out what it is that you need. So that's part of the
it's like create your own adventure book.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, today I want to be on a yoga track. I want to take yoga every single day. Or, you know, tomorrow I want to do cardio, and then I want to like learn about my breath, and then I want to go to organic farming, and then I want to cook some. It's like the world is your oyster. Yeah. There's so much going on at one time. Or you could just sit and draw, or like, you know, or make mala beads. Or
so we're bringing in a jewelry.
How many days is this?
It's 4 days. The one in the Northeast is 4 days, 4 nights. And the one in California is 3 days, 3 nights.
Yeah. And one of the great things about it is that it's a really good mix of like bringing everyone together and then also picking your own thing. So like the first night we do an incredible fear burning ceremony. My friend Julie, she's comes in and we are all around a big campfire, and she walks us through, what do you want to get out of this weekend? Like, what are the fears that you want to let go of? Who do you want to become by the end of this weekend?
She's a professional fear burner.
She's our professional
fear burner. I love it.
And then afterwards, then we have s'mores, gluten-free and vegan optional. And we have a guy playing like Tom Petty songs. And it's just like a really good mix of that like nostalgia and feel good stuff. And then also really doing the deep work. So yeah, we're going to have like all camp yoga class with MC Yogi. If anyone knows who he is, he raps about yogic principles.
He's amazing, MC Yogi.
He's like, be the change that you want to be.
Yeah, it's amazing.
That's so crazy.
Like disco. I call it disco because that's like what we call it.
That's awesome.
Late night discos with one of the top DJs here. I mean, she's amazing. So it's just, it's a total mix of all different types of fun, playful, and inner work that you could do.
Yeah. So how's that for energy-packed, passion-filled interview? So that's Ali and Michelle. I highly recommend if you guys want to check it out. It's something very, very unique. I've never heard anything like this. It's the reason I wanted to bring them on the show. But you can go to soul.camp to find out more about either the East Coast or West Coast version that they're putting on. And we'll talk a little bit more about this in part 2. But if you're a practitioner or a coach or anything like that, and you think that this venue would be good for you to actually speak at, for example, then I highly recommend you reach out to them. I think they've already filled out all the spots for these upcoming, but they plan on doing more and more of these. So you should definitely get on their radar. All right, so we'll come back in part 2 and we're going to delve more into what you actually can get out of Soul Camp. And more importantly, what were some of the difficulties that Ali and Michelle had while putting this on and trying to build from scratch this Soul Camp model. So until we speak again, have an amazing, amazing day, my friends.
Thank you for joining us on this week's Performance Enhancing Podcast. We've taken this pep talk and created a custom action guide so you know exactly what action steps to take now to grow your business. Just head over to SatoriPrime.com/podcast and download it for free. Also, please leave a comment and rate this podcast on iTunes. It'll help us get the word out. Thanks for listening. Now, go and implement. We'll see you next time.
Did you run through doors?